what are the threats, hearing from them, but also explaining the things that we learn up here. And so my two questions are related to that. That would be more sort of conversational about maybe a question I would get from somebody at home that I'd like both of you to address. First, and we heard earlier, as far as nuclear modernization, the price tag of, $2 trillion potentially over 30 years, a number something like that. Could both of you sort of address, I think the perception is that the United States has right now all the nuclear weapons we need to blow up the world into oblivion 1,000 times over, right? So if you were trying to explain the importance of this modernization effort, how would each one of you describe that to folks back home? Why it's important, and specifically why it's important?
Senator Schmitt, I'll start off, and first of all, I want to say thank you because the men and women of Tinker Air Force Base and the work that they're doing in regards to just the bomber campus that's being built out there for one leg of the triad is incredibly important. Going back to your comment, I think the way we should be able to frame it is one, it's not a one for one. So it's not one of these conversations where we're talking about how you have to have a one for one or overmatch of those type of things. As we already know, the Russians have more weapons than we have today, but we absolutely hold them at risk. So the way I would describe it to people is you need to understand, it's a proposition in regards to a cost analysis. I want to be able to deter because my adversary understands that the risk of them taking an action would fail upon arrival for them to be able to meet their ultimate needs. So it's a cost benefit analysis model, if you will, and that's what strategic deterrence truly is. And the way we use that cost benefit analysis tool is three legs of the triad.
But as far as the modernization itself, right? How would you describe why that's important? Because if the perception is that we have everything we need to deter because we can, wipe out a country off the, the face of the earth.
Because we must have the ability to have weapon systems and platforms, a training environment, et cetera, that the adversary, because for deterrence, the adversary always gets a vote, for the adversary to understand that the cost benefit of them taking action won't outweigh, and that the modernized systems can hold them at risk.
Senator, thank you for the question. For space, the challenge is that the American people can't look up and see the space systems. And so they don't even realize the way it's enabling the modern way of life. And so I think it's important we remind the American people of all the great advantages space gives us, that we're never lost anymore because of GPS, that we can synchronize global stock markets and point of sale and precision farming. And if we lost all of that, our modern way of life would be at risk. And that's why we have to protect and defend those capabilities and make those investments. So I think it's incumbent on all of us to help the American people understand how space truly is a part of their life, even if they can't see it.
And for each one of you then in your domains here, if you could identify one thing in an unclassified setting, of course here, one thing that really keeps you up at night about China's capabilities, if you wanted to explain that threat to folks back home who maybe don't understand the specifics of it, what would that be?
For me, is their capability to build out their weapon systems and their arsenal. It's that simple, sir.
So the pace at which they're moving.
They can, or the levers that they drive or do not drive on whether they go idle or they accelerate. They control that throttle.
Yeah.
And Senator, my answer is very similar. What's most concerning is the way China has clinically studied us and our dependency on space and figured out exactly what they think our architecture looks like, and now is are rapidly building systems to hold that architecture at risk.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.